Hey everybody, Chris Royce here, Senior Vice President from Syracuse, New York. Hey listen, I wanted to give you just 5 quick tips on actually doing a workshop or a group presentation or a seminar within a company. And some of these are common sense, some of these we've just gained through experience for doing them over so many years and doing so many of them. I wanted to try to help you out and maybe avoid a couple speed bumps. So there's just 5 tips and they'll be pretty quick. The first one is be different to separate yourself. Be different to separate yourself. And what I mean by this is we have a unique process, a unique product, so to speak, in our financial needs analysis, and a unique way of doing business. We're a unique company. And I want people to know that. I want people to feel that we're different, not like anybody else has ever come in there before. So I want to be non-salesy. I don't think employees want a sales pitch. I know HR directors and owners of companies, people that would make the decision to bring us in, don't want to bring in somebody that's going to be giving a big sales pitch to their employees, okay? So I think it's important to be non-salesy. I think we have to be engaging. That's why for my seminars, I like to use a whiteboard. And I know some places it's going to be more appropriate to use PowerPoint. Some places it can be a combination. I like to go old school most of the time, and I like to use a whiteboard because it forces the people to be engaged with what I'm saying, and I'm involving them so they understand. And I think that's important and that's different. Listen, there's nothing worse than somebody standing up in front of a room, flipping through slides and just droning on and reading slides, and the people don't remember anything. You've got to foster and force interaction with the audience. So keep that in mind. And I think we have to ask a lot of questions. Again, people aren't going to go home and tell their spouse about a chart that they saw at a seminar or work at lunch. They will go home and tell their spouse about the presenter and if that presenter made an impression and engaged them. They will go home and tell their spouse a story that they heard at work today. That's what will happen. They'll remember the stories. I've got to tell you this example of what I'm talking about. When I did one of my first seminars, I told a story of how I helped my mom with a smart loan at that time and saved her quite a bit of years and saved her money monthly. And the way I told the story is I laid it out and then at the end revealed that it was my mom. So it had kind of a little twist to it, and it was great. I did a bunch of appointments from that seminar and everything, and it just so happened that a year later, an entire year later, I found one of the sheets that one of the employees had filled out, mixed in with some other papers in a notebook or a binder or whatever. Meaning I had never called this person. And I figured, what the heck? I called that person from the sheet a year later. And I said, hey, this is Chris Royce calling. How are you? And just to see, and she said, good, how are you? And I said, I don't know if you remember me. She said, oh yeah, I remember you. You did the seminar at our work. I said, oh my God, I can't believe you remembered. You know, I got to tell you, I helped a lot of folks from your company, and I just came across your sheet. It got mixed in with some other papers, and I'm so sorry I never called you. She said, okay. I said, well, I'd like to set up an appointment with you. She said, well, you know, I mean, it's been a long time, whatever. I don't think that you can help us. And I said, well, if I could help you, hypothetically speaking, when would you want to meet? And she said, well, I don't know, maybe next week. So the point is I got an appointment and set the appointment, went over to her house and sat down with her. And as a joke, I started the appointment the way I started all the other appointments. So, what stood out to you about the seminar? Or so, what did you remember about the seminar? Or so, what have you guys talked about since you went to the seminar? So I asked her, what stood out to you and what do you remember? And she said, the story about your mother. And I said, okay, well, if I could do that, something like that for you, is that something you'd be interested in? And as it turned out, we ended up helping that family in a similar way in other areas of business as well. It was amazing. It blew me away. And if I put a chart up, I don't think that lady would have said, oh yeah, I remember you. And I certainly don't think she would have said, oh yeah, it was the chart. I remember that chart you put up. That was fantastic. See, people think in images. We don't think in words and that type. We think in images. So stories create images in people's minds, and that's what they remember. So that's a great way to separate ourselves and be different. Have stories in your workshops. Be happy. Smile. Connect with the audience. Be funny. Put a couple funny jokes in there. Interact in a good way. Keep things simple and show your knowledge. Number 2, greet the peeps. Okay? Listen, this is something that seems very simple, but it makes a big difference. When you get there, okay, you shouldn't be setting your stuff up when people are arriving. You should be early, all set up, done, and at the door. And as people come in, you should be shaking their hands, saying hello to them, try to get a little bit of conversation going. If they come in and sit in their seats, walk around, introduce yourself, talk to them, get to know them a little bit. And here's the effect that that's going to have. When you're actually doing the seminar, even though you've only known them for 5 or 10 minutes, you know them. And they're much more warm than if you've got to take the first 10 minutes of the seminar to warm them up. And it just goes a lot smoother. It's the same thing for an opportunity meeting or any type of meeting you're doing. If you have a chance to connect up front, you should do it. Number 3 is adapt to your audience. Okay? We have How Money Works, maybe different varieties of seminars, whatever the case may be. My point is, if you've got a room full of engineers, adapt, okay? Maybe the engineers will remember the charts. Maybe they'll go home and they'll bore their spouses with the charts they saw. I don't know. But the point is, you have to adapt to the audience that you're speaking to. And sometimes when we do seminars, we recommend different audiences, different seminars for different types of audiences. If you go to a manufacturing company, you might do one type of seminar that deals more with debt and budgeting and that type of thing. And then maybe some of the executives or the folks in a different part of the company, you may tailor that more towards investments or things they may be more interested in. And you've got to be able, as you're doing it, to adapt to who you're speaking with and pick up on the fact if you're losing people or if they're engaged or not. And that'll make a big difference in the quality of your seminar. And number 4 and number 5 are open well and close well. So let me share with you how I open a workshop and how I close one. And again, you can see the full workshop in another part of the training center as an example. But I wanted to draw your attention to the opening and the closing. At the beginning, it's all about putting people at ease, and it's also about grabbing their attention early. So a good way to do that is to make statements that you can't argue with, you can't object to. Simple, what I call trust statements that you have to agree with. And you get some nodding and some yes momentum, and people say, whoa, this person's genuine, they're sincere, they know what they're talking about. So one of the ways that I do that is I say, look at everybody. After I introduce myself, hi, my name's Chris Royce. It's good to be here. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody got their lunch and everything. Listen, I'm going to go through some information with you today. And let me tell you guys right up front, I know that nobody here wants or needs some kind of goofy sales pitch. I get it. I wouldn't want that either. But let me tell you what I think you do want and what you do need. And that's the truth. That's the facts about how money really works. Because here's what I believe. Once you have all the facts, you can make a good decision. And people don't struggle with money because they can't understand it or because they're not working. Because everybody in this room is working hard, correct? And they all raise their hand. I say, so it's not because you're not working hard, and it's certainly not because you can't understand. However, even the smartest person, if they're lacking key information and key facts, you can't make the best decision. And people of average intelligence, once they have all the facts, can make very intelligent decisions. So my objective here today with you guys is to lay out the truth about some key areas in your personal finances. And then I begin to go into the thing. That puts people at ease and it grabs their attention, okay? Now, the way that I close the seminar I think is very important. As I'm winding down, typically before I get into my last topic, I'll say before I get into my last topic, let me share with you what you have access to. Because your employer has seen fit to bring us in here today and talk to you and educate you and bring you up to speed on these ideas and concepts, you have access to a complimentary financial needs analysis. And here's how it works. We're going to take the concepts that I've taught you here today, and we're going to pull in your personal numbers, your personal financial situation, in confidence, outside of work, and see if we can get you out of debt quicker. See if we can save you money monthly, okay? See if we can make the necessary adjustments to get you on track, to get these principles working for you. The financial analysis that we're going to do doesn't cost you a dime. It's in confidence. And the way it works is we'll collect information, and we will do this analysis, and it'll show us if you keep going the way you're going, when will you be debt-free, and how much will it cost? How well protected are you going to be along the way, and when are you going to be able to retire, and at what quality of life? And then through the resources that we have access to, we're going to work on putting together some solutions to say, look, if you're willing to tweak this and make some adjustments, here could be your new debt-free date and how well protected you could be and when you might be able to retire. And then if we like each other, if you like me and I like you, and we agree to work together, then we can have a working relationship long term. Now, I'm going to hand out 2 forms. The first form is just a time for you to fill out your name, address, phone number, and a good time to call. I'll be calling you within a few days to set up an appointment to get together with you and your spouse. I'll reiterate the concepts, and then we'll talk about your situation. The second form is simply a list of what you have to have ready so that we can start when I come over. Now, if for some strange reason you're not interested in me taking a look at your situation and seeing if I can help you, fill out the form and leave your phone number off. The only people that I'm interested in calling are those people that are serious about their financial future and that want to work together and we can get some things done. Okay? So after I'm done, I'm going to send those forms around. And then I hit my last topic, and then I hand the forms around while I'm doing Q&A. Taking questions, hand the forms, and that closing, that method of closing the workshop has worked out very well. And the ratios, if you're doing a good job, and I'll wrap up with this, if you've got 10 people in a workshop, you can expect 7 of them should hand in the form saying, yes, call me, and you'll end up getting together with about 5. Because some things will happen in between, whatever, this or that. And so if you can talk to an extra 50 people in a month and get an extra 25 appointments, it's a pretty darn good deal. So hope that helps, guys. Get after it.